first and last name and spell it for me?
Carmelo Rosado. I am a sales manager here at Tempo Solar.
Top of the Empire State Building, 97.1 WQHT, New York. Hot 97.
I grew up in the Bronx, New York. Was born back in the late 70s. New York City was a rough area in the 80s. I'm sure everyone has heard of the crack pandemic. I grew up in that era. Joined the military when I was about 18 years old in 1997. Spent 3 years in the military, and after that became a personal trainer, fitness manager for a while, and then I kind of spiraled out of control for a little bit. Solar has been, it saved me from what I used to be. When the 80s hit, the crack came out, it hit the neighborhoods pretty hard.
Almost every block bears evidence of the industry. The police walk right past a typical hole through which crack is anonymously bought and sold.
The ghetto areas, as we say, but it was really rough because back then a lot of people couldn't, it was just a new drug. People were going crazy. There was a lot of killings and robberies and a whole bunch of stuff. So as a kid, we had to navigate through that growing up in the neighborhood. My father was, he was addicted to drugs, alcohol, stuff like that. So I didn't really have him most of my life. He passed away when I was about 8 years old. But he was addicted to heroin. My mom was a mother and father there growing up in the hood. I mean, sometimes people try to act like it doesn't bother them. And, you know, they try to toughen up and, you know, and get through stuff. But, you know, as a kid dealing with some of the stuff that you have to deal with, I mean, that's something that stays imprinted on you for the rest of your life. Psychologically, you know, mentally, you know, so.
And do you have children of your own?
Oh, of course, yeah, I do. I have six kids. I also have 3 stepkids. I have one of my sons works with me here in Tempo. My relationship with my sons are like phenomenal, you know. I mean, you know, obviously there's ups and downs in any relationship, bump heads a little bit, but at the end of the day, I've been there for them every step of the way, you know, through sports, through life, through everything, so.
They have a vision of the Bronx, you know, in the 80s and the 90s, but what are some benefits of living there?
I mean, well, you know, the neighborhood kids, you know, everybody is a family, you know. Summertime was amazing in the neighborhoods, you know, especially for us that we grew up in the neighborhoods. You know, in those times, it was one of those things like, you know, it's like a 3 or 4 block radius. If you go beyond that, you know, it's like enemy territory sometimes. But in those 2 or 3 blocks, you know, everybody, you know, playing football on the street, always outside, you know, water pump, pool, night pool, everything. I mean, it was great times with your select group of people, you know. My grandfather was in World War II, so we've always been like kind of like a military family. He's always kind of raised us that way. So when it was my time, I was kind of flirting with the idea of going to school and of college after high school, and I decided college wasn't for me, so I just kind of decided I was going to join the military. But during that time, I was like in a delayed entry program, so I wasn't sure if I was going to go or not, and I almost got killed twice during that time. Yeah. So it was like one time, I was about to head home. Back then we used to have beepers. I was like a little old school, but I got a beep, turned around, and the corner that I was about to be at within seconds when I turned around to go back into my guy's store to make a phone call, it got shot up. And some van came in, unloaded on the corner. Somebody died. The dude that just shot the dude runs right by me as I was coming out from making the phone call. So it was like, that was one scare, you know. I don't know what could have happened. I would have been dead smack there, you know. So that was one thing that happened. And another time it was just playing football out in the park. We were playing ball and we were beating some unsavory characters that didn't like getting beat. And gunshots, rain out. So those were the two things that kind of put me in a position like, why am I gonna stay in the hood and die for nothing? I'm also, put my life on the line and die for my country. I think for me, I think I had a problem with picking the wrong woman. That was a big thing, but that comes a lot with the upbringing, decision making, knowing what's right and what's wrong. But I got addicted to, cocaine and stuff like that. So, that was a big issue, and it kind of took me down another path where I was on the right track to be somebody, and then I kind of got into that mix, which is, it was an addiction. It was hard to, deal with, but then, you go from doing the drugs to trying to sell the drugs, and it's just like one thing after another, so. Well, and I was living out in Wisconsin. I was doing, sometimes I had jobs, sometimes I didn't have jobs. Most of the time I was selling drugs. I call myself a two-bit hustler. I wasn't the big kingpin or anything like that. I just did stuff to get me by, Las Vegas was a shot, it was taking a shot. When I came into solar, I was rough around the edges. I kind of wanted to be trained, but I didn't want to be trained. I kind of looked around and I seen what was in the company at the time, and I just felt like I knew myself, no matter how long these guys have been doing it, that I was gonna outwork everybody. I knew that, without a doubt. I might not know what I'm doing, but I knew I was gonna knock more doors, I knew I was gonna work more hours, I knew that. Well, solar, you gotta think of like, from what I've been through in my life, and when I was doing things I wasn't supposed to do as far as, in the streets, selling drugs and stuff like that, you have this goal in your mind that you think you're gonna be this big time guy, I think that's everybody's thought process when they're out there. And some people are just like out there making money. Solar, when I came into it, for me, I treated it like it was that. It was another hustle. The only thing is, it was a legal hustle. So that legal hustle, you don't have anybody you don't have to look over your shoulders. You don't have to worry about this, you don't have to worry about that. All you gotta do is just go out there and work. And the money that you make here is just life-changing, I believe in August, it was about, I wanna say 45,000. For a person like me, it's kind of crazy, because you make that money and, it kind of, you're like, whoa, it's a lot of money, and sometimes you gotta kind of check yourself because, you could take the foot off the pedal where you're like, what, I got this money, like you said, this is what people make in a year, now I can just chill, but that feeling, you got it, you can't have that feeling, because if not, that's when your pay is gonna go down. You gotta keep pushing forward, it's right now I just purchased a Tesla yesterday, so it's like things like that I wouldn't have even thought of before. In all honesty, it's like I tell everyone, it's like this job, if you have the drive in you and you're willing to go out there and knock a certain amount of doors, as many doors as possible, and see the type of money that you can make with just going out there and being consistent every single day, the sky's the limit. Why would you want to work anywhere else where there's a cap? There's no cap here. You can make as much money as you want. There's no one telling you like, hey, that's enough. No, we want to keep pushing the tempo, pushing that level of success, so.